Hey guys, Joe Richardson here, real estate investor and realtor. Thank you for checking out part 2 of this video series as I discuss the current real estate market from an investor perspective. As some of you may know or seen, I haven't posted a video of one of my flips in a while. We're actually about a few weeks from completing a large project in Durham, North Carolina, and it has been a challenge due to logistical and supply issues, as well as difficulties in scheduling with third-party vendors and subcontractors. My partner and I have about 6 projects altogether currently that we're working on. However, our focus and resources has been on this Durham flip, while the other 5 have been placed on hold. Normally, I like to keep at most 3 projects to work on and manage at a given time. Anything additional, I would look to wholesale to another investor or hotel on MLS in the retail market. However, due to the limited number of available deals out there, it came to a point where if I come across an opportunity, I'm more inclined to hold on to it because deals are coming around less and less. It feels like that competition has been at an all-time high these last couple of years with other investors as well as regular home buyers. In the past, it was rare for investors to compete for distressed properties with regular home buyers. We would compete with other investors, and because it was strictly about the numbers, distressed houses would rarely be inflated on purchase and acquisition prices. At a certain price point, any investment does not make sense. However, because of the extreme shortages of available houses on the market, regular home buyers are now competing with us and trying to buy distressed houses as well. When I say distressed, I mean houses that are typically in foreclosure or already owned by a bank and would need significant repairs to make it livable. With regular home buyers, because they are already somewhat frenzied for not being able to find anything for a while, they are very likely to inflate the purchase price of a house in their bids to a point where it doesn't make sense for an investor to acquire. Another player that local investors and home buyers are competing against are the large institutional investors. In our market, these institutional investors are willing to overpay for the same houses that are on the market, paying all cash with a quick close. Interesting enough, I was actually contacted by one of these institutional investors earlier this year, where they are willing to buy my flips at 117% of the ARV. With the increased competition in the retail market for real estate, the focus for most investors these past couple years have been for off-market deals at a deep discount. We would either acquire the properties from wholesalers or directly from the sellers. Unfortunately, in the very active areas, it has gone to a point where even the acquisition prices that make sense, especially with the cost of construction materials, are now at an all-time high. Off-market sellers are either being unreasonable with their asking price because they hear how crazy the real estate market is, or they have been bombarded with calls and texts from other investors and wholesalers where they are so frustrated and not willing to sell at all. Additionally, many of the wholesalers I come across are having issues coming up with good numbers, where they got the property under contract with the sellers at a price that's too much, or their assignment fee is too high because they need to make up for the lack of inventory. I've seen deals come across my desk where the wholesaler is asking for $300,000 with an ARV being like $380,000, where an $80,000 spread may seem good to some investors, but again, because of the rising costs in construction material, even a simple cosmetic flip can cost about $50,000 or more. After closing and holding costs, an investor would be hard pressed to make any profit. Nonetheless, there will be an investor or two that will buy with that spread because there's not much available deals out there. So that's the main reason why we're carrying 6 projects currently, even with our focus on one large flip. Another concern that I have is that borrowing costs have been increasing. 6 months ago, an investor could get a 30-year fixed loan with a 5% interest rate. Right now, I'm seeing interest rate as high as 6 to 7%, which will factor into my BRRRR projects that we will have to take into account once we reach a point in the project where we're going to refinance and pull the cash out. I may not be able to pull as much cash as I originally planned, so we will have to cross that road when we get there. Our Durham flip is a significant project where we are pretty much rebuilding a house, requiring engineering plans and permits pulled with the city at every phase. We originally planned to complete the project in about 6 to 8 months, where 1 to 2 of those months were allocated for permit and plans. However, due to staffing shortages with the planning department, and overbooked surveyors and engineer vendors, it took 6 months just to get plans and permits approved. Once we started work, we ran into labor and supply issues along the way. The rehab cost has gone over the budget due to the rising costs in construction material. The blessing in disguise is that the expected after repair value has gone up a lot as well, and it should help us make up for the increased rehab and holding costs. One other thing on wholesalers. It seems like we are oversaturated with them, and unfortunately with any industry, there are honest wholesalers and not so honest ones out there. The ones that are giving wholesalers a bad name may potentially disrupt the practice here in North Carolina. There have been efforts in the local government requiring wholesalers to be licensed, or they are looking to limit the ability to sign a contract, much like what other states have implemented. That's something that wholesalers should watch out for, and if need be, pivot their business practices. Real estate comes with challenges and benefits, and that's what I love about it. What's working for investors in 2017 and 2018 may not work in our current market. I appreciate you guys checking out part 2 of this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys later.